there's a lot of hype behind tonight's guest. I gotta say, this is the first time ever in Defender the Riff history where I think that the guest is actually more excited than me for my own show that I look forward to doing every week. My dudes and also my dogs, is my pleasure to have this week and to introduce you to or to bring into the room because you all already know here. Noelle dos Anjos. Let's go. How you doing, buddy? She's so excited.
Yay!
I'm not kidding, guys.
I am. Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. Oh my gosh, so cool to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. What's up, guys?
My day started today at 11:15 when I showed up late to my sound check with Noelle. She was there ready for me, and this enthusiasm and this excitement she has right now has been like all days that I've been talking to her. It's insane. She is so stoked for this. I am so happy to have you here. Welcome to Defender of the Riff on the Knotfest official channel.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. And like, I love the concept of this show, Defender of the Riff. It's like almost like a superhero duty, you know? I love it.
You are a superhero, Noelle. You are.
Oh, come on. Not as cool as you, but at least you're in the same team.
Look at this.
Defending the Riff.
Do you want your own show? You're killing it right now. We should get you your own show here.
Oh, come on.
Guys, it's so great to have Noelle here. She has an incredible Twitch channel. We're going to talk all about that this evening. You know, it's always fun to have another incredible partnered streamer on the show. So guys, you know, if you're watching this and you don't already know, Noelle has a Twitch channel. Links are in the chat. I've got a Twitch channel. Links are in the chat. Everybody follow everyone. Follow the Knotfest channel. Noelle, you ready to dive in? Are you ready to discuss?
Go. Yes.
Are you ready to get into some deep thoughts and some deep chats? Because that's what Defender the Riff's all about. It's about getting to the bottom of why we do such a ridiculous sounding task and why we hold it so close to our hearts, why we defend the riff. The power of thy riff compels you. Where does your story begin for music? What are your first musical loves? What are the first sounds you hear that really grab your attention?
Oh, wow. Okay, traveling really back in time. I think my first memories of like music that really sparked my attention was like when I was like really young, little baby Noelle, put to sleep with my dad singing songs, Brazilian songs. So I come from Brazil, guys, and my dad is very musical. My whole family actually is pretty musical, and my dad really loved to sing me songs, and my sister as well to sleep. So we listened to a lot of bossa nova and MPB, which is MPB is more like popular Brazilian music. So a lot of that growing up, and
come to Brazil.
And also,
already in the chat. Come to
yes,
Brazil. Amazing
music, by the way. Really. So that was really big for me because I still have those memories of listening to a lot of Brazilian music. And then I think my mom was like super crazy about the violin. So she really wanted she wanted to learn the violin herself, but she never got around to do that. And then she put me and my sister into violin classes. And yeah, I played violin for most of my childhood, like a ton of years playing the violin as a kid and playing little orchestras. It was really fun, but a bit strict, I would say. You know, those orchestras can be a little bit like, they have a whole standard for how you should dress, how you should sit, how you should behave. So it's a completely different world, but very interesting as well. Yeah.
It's the academic side of music, if you will. Like if guitars and, you know, rock and roll drum kits and bass is the Wild West, that's like the academic route is to, you know, pick up one of the classic instruments.
Yeah, and I feel it's very nice as well that my mom put me on music so early, because I got to learn a bit about scales and about, I actually really enjoy the violin itself, not really the orchestra vibe, but to play the violin and to play together with other musicians like cellos and violas and things like that. I was really excited. I really used to like that a lot. But yeah, something else caught my attention much more, I would say.
Yeah, no kidding. So how far into violin you go? You say you played for like majority of your life. How intense does your schooling with violin go?
So it was not really majority of my life. It was more like as a kid, it was like on and off. I would play for some years and then I would be kind of bored of it, or I would go into a little like kids orchestra for a while. And I remember I took a lot of lessons, which was really nice and helpful. But then I started uni, like school and uni, and then I kind of lost a little bit of the attraction for the violin, I would say. I was getting more into rock music and later on into metal. And I still would play the violin, but it was not like, it was nice, it was fun, but it didn't sparkle that much joy that I would like really go for it and super like want to study it or, you know, move forward, I guess.
Did that bum out your mom? Was she really hoping that you were going to become a professional concert violin player?
No, not really. Like she really wanted me to learn a violin. She's still a bit like, oh, I would prefer if you had stuck with the violin. Yeah. But she's okay now because she knows that I love music and I still do music, and that I think like when she looks back at all the time that I spent learning music, it was not in like to waste, because if you learn one instrument, when you learn the other one, there's a lot of knowledge already that you have that you can pass forward, I would say.
Noelle, talk to me about you know, kind of, as you say, in university, losing interest a little bit in playing violin and focusing on other things. What is the, you know, the spark that gets you into heavy metal? Is it around that era that you get into heavy metal and more aggressive music, or does that start prior?
Oh yeah. So I think like when I started listening to metal, I was still like playing the violin, but really casually, and it was a fun story, actually. My community already knows this. I started listening to metal in school because one dude, like super random dude, was not even close to me. But anyway, he lent me. Is this the word lend? Lend, I think it is, right?
Like to borrow?
CD.
Yeah.
Yeah. A CD. It was Wishmaster by Nightwish, and holy shit, that blew my mind. Like it was like something so crazy in my ears. Like it would mix like heaviness and like all the power and heaviness that was already like into rock music with symphonic arrangements and lyrical voice and all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this even? I was completely blown away by Nightwish. It was my first love into metal, and I was completely sold. I became a total metalhead after Nightwish. I really was crazy about symphonic metal bands. So I was into Within Temptation, Epica, and Nightwish, and Evanescence, which is more like new metal-ish as well. What else? Yeah, Lacuna Coil, all of those like front woman symphonic
Epic
band. I was like crazy. That was my jam because it was something like I already was really familiar with the classical music.
Yeah.
Plus all the like heaviness and yeah, that album blew my mind. And from that was just like getting heavier and heavier.
That's awesome. Those are like, it's so easy to make that transition when you grew up playing a classical instrument, and I'm sure was learning all these classical pieces, and then you hear it shredded in your face and, you know, throw these soaring vocals on it. Yeah, like I think that things like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, like think about that. That's like symphonic heavy metal AF, and they can go play into a giant arena because it's so familiar to everyone. There's so much there that's familiar about it. I think it's really cool that like it just like grabbed you right away. You're like, I get this. I want this.
I was totally crazy about that. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this even? So after that, I remember in 2008, it was in school for me. So in 2008, I went to a Nightwish concert. Like was my the first big concert I've ever been. My mom only allowed me to go because my cousins went with me. to babysit me. And I was already, I don't know, 19. And my mom was like, you cannot, because it was in another city. And she was like, oh, it's metal. What is this? You know, she was a bit, But yeah, it was awesome. It was really lovely. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I got so crazy about concerts and festivals. And yeah, I love it. Just love it.
That's awesome. So when does this love for metal and all things heavy turn into, hey, I got to play guitar and start learning these heavy metal songs?
So I think, okay, so when I was listening to Nightwish, I would never really pay that much attention to guitars. It was more about the vocals. Okay. I actually really wanted to learn how to sing, and I was like dreaming about, I think a lot of girls like are like this, like dreaming about being like a Tarja Turunen and singing like that, like an angel. But then I don't know, I feel like my voice is not made for that. I don't know. And then I started listening to heavier stuff. I got more into the heavy metal, classic, traditional, like Judas Priest and old school Metallica and Megadeth and, you know, all of those like Motorhead, Iron Maiden classics. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mind was just like expanding into metal world. And then I was like, holy shit, guitar is super cool.
Yeah.
I think because the songs are so guitar based.
Those are all guitar bands. Yeah, those are bands on the end. When you think of the members of those bands, you don't list the lead singer first. You list the guitar player first. Like, those are guitar bands, man.
Yeah, so like I was like, dude, this is super cool. I want to play the guitar. So that was more or less the transition. I was not much more like into violin as much. And then like simply like listening to all those bands, it just felt natural. It was like the next step. I need to pick up a guitar. I need to go up on stage. And of course I was like crazy about, of course, my metal scene in my city. So the underground scene was quite big, like not big, but all the kids would go to the concerts of local bands, you know, and have beer and talk about music. So I was always into that stuff. Oh, it was so cool. So yeah, I started playing, and a lot of my friends, I started to make friendships like inside the underground scene, like subculture of metal in my city. Sure. And there was a lot of hype, you know. I think everybody was like, just some people were just starting out, a lot of bands starting out, and you just get the vibe and the hype, you know. Oh, that's so nice to see the scene evolving, I guess. Yeah,
to be a part of it, and you know, to give and take away from it, it's the coolest feeling to watch it grow that way. When you were first starting to pick up guitar, I imagine like some kids start like taking lessons, and some kids start like just by learning songs they like and trying on the internet. But I imagine you had a bit of an advantage having come from a stringed instrument. Like you don't learn violin without understanding musical theory. So, you know, did you already felt like you had a strong advantage of playing guitar? Did it translate well for you, or was it difficult at first?
Oh, I think it's quite of a difference, because like when I first started out, like my fingers didn't know where to go, and I was like, what is this though? I felt it would be easier for me as well. But even the way we vibrate on the guitar, like the guitar, we vibrate like this. Usually, like we do. Usually we vibrate like up and down. In the violin, it's more like front and back. So even to start vibrating the guitar for me took so long. It felt so ridiculous. And I was like, this is so bad. I used to be able to do like the vibrato on the violin, and now I'm dead in the guitar. I can't do shit. So even though I knew a lot of stuff about music already, like I was not like completely noob, but with the instrument, starting out with the instrument was really hard. I feel like it was quite tough for me. Yeah,
it's interesting. I didn't really realize about the vibrato with the front and back versus the up and down. I know, like with violin, like the finger movements are so much more sensitive too. Like you literally like roll your finger to hit another note. Like you don't have to like move up that much. You just like roll your finger forward, and you're playing a totally different note. So I get it's completely different, but in terms of like a musical mind though, like kind of like understanding how songs work and understanding how to learn things and having your ear develop, do you feel like that gave you an advantage, or was it just like something totally new to you?
I think so. I must say so, because a lot of people, when start playing an instrument, they don't know anything about like scales, about like rhythm figures. I don't know, how is this in English? Figuras rítmicas, probably that. Like
Time signatures.
yes, exactly. Time signatures and all of that. And when you already have this knowledge, it can be translated to all the other instruments you were learning. So that for me was a big like I think step forward. I guess like an advantage in the beginning. Not much the physicality of the thing, but understanding what is a step, what is a whole step, a half step, and all of that. Yeah, that helps.
This chat is full of friends and people from all over the Twitch community. If you're just joining us, folks, we're hanging out with Noelle dos Anjos. She's got an incredible Twitch channel. Definitely one of the first guitar players I started watching on Twitch, and it's been fun to grow together on the platform and to watch her stream and all this stuff, great stuff happen with you. And I'm really stoked to have you here.